Hi all. Sorry I can't be there with you, but thanks to the generosity and kindness of Brother Steve, I'm here in spirit, or there in spirit, and also in video. I just want to say a few words about Ernie, a recurring theme that keeps coming back, and that is that Ernie was a master of denial, and I mean that in the absolute most positive way. And let me explain a little bit about it. I first met Ernie in 1982 when he worked at Jam. He was hired to run our warehouse in Jam, and I picked him up at the airport. First time I met him, and here I met this guy with a ponytail and sandals in October when it was about -3. Most of us at that time, late 30s, early 40s, were having the typical expanding forehead syndrome, and Ernie was just in denial. He kept growing the hair long and tied it back. The eternal hippie. Wearing sandals in October, I said, "Ernie, aren't you cold?" He said, "Nah, no problem." I visited Ernie in Vancouver a couple of years later, stayed with his house for a couple of days, and it was again October. Walked outside one day, and as I approached the car, noticed his windshield was all frosted up, which is something very unusual for Vancouver. And I said, "Ernie, you want to get in the car and turn it up and give me your scraper, and I'll clean the windshield?" He says, "Nah, they don't need a scraper." And he reached in his glove compartment, pulled out a cassette case, and scraped his windshield off with a cassette case. And again, we don't need scrapers in Vancouver. Total denial. On a health standpoint, I didn't know for 5 years after I knew Ernie that he had serious back issues, and it was only at a meeting in Montreal, sitting around a table for 3 days, and at one point I just happened to catch Ernie in the corner of my eye, and he was grimacing, and our eyes met, and he immediately stopped and smiled and threw me a big grin, and the rest of the day was fine. And it was only that night he confided in me that he'd had serious back pain for years because of some injury when he was a kid, and that these meetings were agony for him, and that he had to lie on the floor sometimes for hours to be able to sleep. So again, total denial, didn't want anybody to know what he was going through. And of course the ultimate was dealing with his disease over the last year and a half, and he did that with such style as well. And although I'm sure he and Kathy had their moments, the emails that he sent out were so heartwarming and so uplifting and made everybody feel so lucky to be alive and so lucky to know him. I'll thank him for that forever. And the last thing that he left me, which is something that serves me almost every day, we were in a restaurant one night and were being served by a very rude, very bad waiter, and I was getting upset to the point of telling him off, and Ernie just grinned, turned and looked at me and said, "Every day you meet somebody you're glad you're not." That has stayed with me forever. I use it all the time, and Ernie, I thank you for that. It's going to get me through a lot of stressful moments. I thank you for that. I love you, and you'll be with me forever. This is for you, Ernie. For you, Ernie.